In the chaos of war, when medical supplies dwindled and infection meant almost certain death, soldiers and medics were forced to turn to the raw materials of the battlefield itself. And among the mud, smoke, and desperation, one of the most unlikely life-saving discoveries wasn't a secret serum or a laboratory-made chemical. It was ash. Ordinaire. Wood ash. It sounds impossible, almost primitive. But across multiple fronts of World War II, this simple gray powder became an antiseptic, a cleanser, and a healing compound that kept countless wounded soldiers alive when modern medicine ran dry. It's a story born from desperation. Yes, but also from ingenuity, from chemistry, from the kind of practical knowledge that only surfaces when survival is the only focus. By 1942, supply lines across Europe, Africa, and the Pacific were stretched to their breaking point. Frontline medics sometimes treated dozens, 50, even 100 wounded men with nothing but a handful of gauze and a half-empty iodine bottle. And when those ran out, they turned to the oldest forms of medicine, the knowledge passed down through villagers, hunters, nomads, and indigenous healers. One such method involved mixing fine wood ash with water, or sometimes with animal fat, to create a paste that could clean wounds and slow infection. Primitive? No. Effective? Absolutely. Wood ash contains potassium carbonate, calcium, and other minerals that produce a naturally alkaline environment, one where bacteria struggle to survive. When applied correctly, it killed microbes, dried out infection-prone areas, reduced odor, and even encouraged clotting. In an age before antibiotics were widely available, this could mean the difference between a wound that healed and one that rotted into gangrene. There are real, documented stories of fighters and soldiers using it. Soviet partisans, deep in the forests of Belarus, mixing birch ash with bear fat to treat bullet wounds and frostbite. Stranded American troops in the Pacific boiling coconut husk ash and blending it with plant oils to disinfect cuts. British soldiers in North Africa using fine palm ash to clean wounds when iodine was gone. No glamour. No pharmaceuticals. Just survival pulled straight from fire pits and cooking fires. And the chemistry behind it is surprisingly elegant. When wood burns completely, the minerals left behind form a residue rich in alkaline compounds. Mix that with clean, boiled water, and you get a mild antiseptic wash. Mix it with fat, and you get a thick salve that protects the wound while the minerals do their work beneath the surface. Even surgical instruments could be sterilized by boiling them in ash. Water, something that reduced infection rates in field hospitals when soap and alcohol were impossible to find. These men didn't have laboratories or microscopes, but they understood what worked, and they used it with precision born from necessity. Today, recreating this mixture is less about replacing modern medicine and more about understanding the brilliance of those who came before us. To do it properly, you start with clean hardwood, ash oak hickory, acacia, birch, never ash from painted or treated wood. Sift it, cool it, and you're left with a fine powder that can be mixed into a wash or a paste. It's a powerful reminder of how much healing can come from the simplest materials. If you understand their properties, one of the most remarkable accounts comes from 1943, when Soviet medics cut off from supply lines used ash salve to save men from infections that would have otherwise killed them. Many credited that crude mixture with saving their limbs and their lives. Across continents, in jungles, deserts, forests, and trenches, soldiers from completely different armies all discovered the same truth. When everything else fails, knowledge becomes your medicine. And that is the heart of this story. The ash mixture of World War II isn't just about survivalides. About the power of understanding your environment, it shows us that chemistry isn't confined to labs. That healing doesn't always come from bottles, and that sometimes the most effective tools are the ones we overlook because they feel too simple. For survivalists, preppers, historians, and anyone fascinated by forgotten wisdom, this knowledge bridges ancient remedies with modern science. Even today, clean ash can still be used to wash hands, clean tools, and disinfect minor injuries in wilderness emergencies. In a world obsessed with technology, it's easy to forget that the simplest materials once saved countless lives. But this wartime ash mixture stands as a symbol of human resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest hours of war, understanding and resourcefulness remained our greatest weapons. Soldiers didn't need fancy equipment. They needed courage, observation, and a handful of Earth's raw ingredients. If you're passionate about rediscovering lost survival skills and forgotten wartime innovations, this is the kind of story that deserves to live on. Study it, understand it, and share it. Because the next great discovery might not come from a modern laboratory. It might come from remembering what our ancestors already knew.